Hello and welcome to the Browns Blitz. This is a special episode for us. This is episode number 300. I'm your host, Rod Bloom, and I guess I ought to give the date. This originally was going to be Wednesday, the 18th, but now it's Thursday, the 19th, due to some antics from Mother Nature who took my power out last night. Fortunately, this great group of guys is able to come back together tonight and help us celebrate this I guess we'll call it kind of an anniversary type show. Just really a celebration of of what we do here on the Browns Blitz and the fact that we've done 300 shows. We are part of the Fanatical Elves Network, and just wanted to thank everybody at the network, and you guys can help us out by subscribing to the Fanatical Elves Network on YouTube and iTunes, just so you see our content and you know when live shows are coming up. We started this podcast back in, I think, the fall of 2019. So it's been almost 6 years since we started this podcast. It was me and a friend of mine, Sam Maddie, who started this podcast. And after a while, Sam and I quit doing the podcast together. I did it by myself for a while. And eventually I kind of coaxed my brother, Jeff, into joining the podcast. You remember that, Jeff?
Yeah. So I'm actually only on episode 276, Rod. So I'm like about 24 behind you.
276, yeah. Jeff, we've covered a lot of
big birthday.
Definitely. We've covered a lot of stuff on here. The past several years we've really kind of been focused on the Browns, but I don't remember which shows you've been on and which ones you weren't. We've done beer pods. We've done podcasts devoted exclusively to Clay Matthews and the Hall of Fame. I've done podcasts here about writing. We've done podcasts specifically about the draft. We did a series of podcasts on racism in America. We're pretty darn proud of too. And with our focus now on the Browns, I think what it really comes down to is what really makes us unique, or what we really like about this is that we're fan focused. We like to talk to fans. We are fans, and we take a lot of pride in the fact that we've had so many people on this podcast, so many different people, 300 episodes, probably 200 different guests, I would guess. And I would venture to say that of those 200 people, I bet pretty darn close to 100 of those people, this was the first podcast they've ever been on. And I'm really proud of that.
Yeah. And the other thing people went on to do their own podcasts.
That is true. I almost want to coin a phrase that we are the cradle of podcasts, Jeff. What do you think of
that? Cradle of Browns podcasts.
Yeah. We've spurred a few podcasts, but that's a good thing. But we love having Browns fans on. So I'll be honest, guys.
You couldn't have said it better.
I haven't reached out as much to new people as often lately because we've had so many people on it, and I like having people back on. So here's my invitation. If you're listening and you're a Browns fan, football fan, you want to come on the podcast, send me a DM or an email. My information's on X. We love having new guests on the show. So just we'll set something up and we'll have you on. You don't need experience. You just want to come on and talk. So.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know what, Rod? We shouldn't intimidate anybody. We enjoy talking about the Browns. We try to share some information every week about the Browns. Maybe some things people didn't know before. A lot of it's our opinions, right? But ultimately, what this is about is just having a good time and getting to interact with some really great people. And that's kind of our theme for tonight, right? Just some of our favorite people, and have a good time interacting.
Absolutely. And while we're talking about some of our favorite people, Jeff, I could thank a million people for this podcast. We got some of those people on tonight, and we've had a lot of those people on. So many people have helped us out and come on, have been great guests and everything. A couple people I just want to shout out. One is Peter Jones, who wasn't able to come on with us tonight, but Peter was a fixture on this podcast for a long time. He's just not doing podcasts right now, but just wanted to say, Peter, we miss you and hope you're doing well. And we thank you for all the great times, that we've had on here, and hopefully we can do it again at some point. The other one's Jeremy Bonham, who has just been a great, I don't know, you call him a fan. Jeremy's more of a friend of the show. Just been very, he's always encouraging us, helps us with ideas. He's helped us with guests and things like that.
He's a friend of the show. He's an
there
advocate.
Are a million.
I mean, he's
an advocate too. Absolutely.
He's had a great behind the scenes role. Yeah.
Yes, 100%. So yeah. Sorry guys, I want to do one thing real quick while everybody's here. I'm going to, sorry. Okay. I had to retweet the link so people can see it on my X page. Okay. Yeah. Everybody understands.
Hopefully we'll have some people join us live tonight.
That would be great. So, with all that said, let's get into the show. We got a great group of guys, so let's bring all of these guys in. We have Menachem Mikovits. We have Craig and Tom, Craig Hillis and Tom Brunswick. None of you guys have none of us have our handles up there, but it's great to have all you guys on the show. You guys have all been on at least a couple times each. Menachem and I go back to writing together at Cleveland Sports Talk. Actually, I think I'm the one who hired Menachem there, because at that point I was in charge of picking out, writers wrote sample articles, and I said, this guy's a good writer. So, and
I owe it all to you, Rod. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're a great writer, and you're a great writer and an even better friend, Menachem. So I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And Tom Brunswick, it's an honor to have you on the show. I mean, people just love you, Tom. You know this, right?
Well, I didn't know that, but I know I love the Browns, and I know I love this podcast, and I know I love having the opportunity to be on the show. So, Rod, thanks so much, and appreciate it, and along with you, Jeff, too. It's a podcast that everybody should listen to, keep up with the Browns, and share their information. It's a great opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely, Tom.
Thank you, Tom. But you and I are kind of yin and yang. They love you. They love to hate me. So that provides us some balance here on the Browns Blitz.
Yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily true, but yeah, Tom, you the times that you've been on have been some of our highest rated shows. I don't even know if I ever told you that, but so people have really enjoyed listening to you. When you've been on, we've talked about your dad. We talked about your dad the first time, I think, and the second time, I think we talked more about your experiences, and of course, and the Browns both times. But I think people just love the shows.
I think it's a lot easier when the Browns are winning. That's for sure. Everybody feels a lot better about things. And, my Browns experience is more in the 80s and 90s. And, since 99, it's been hit and miss, a lot more misses than hitting. But, I remember liking the Browns in the 70s And it wasn't until the Cardiac Kids in the 80s that I learned to love the Browns, with the old stadium, the orange pants, the brown jerseys. And in those days, we would just go to the game and they'd win every time. We didn't even know who they were playing a lot of times, and they would just,
Yeah.
we expected to win. We thought it was easy. I didn't know it was going to be this tough as I get my older age here, but boy, those were the days. They were fun. And I just would like to see the young generation, see the Browns win. There's a missing generation of Browns fans that haven't seen them win. I mean, we remember the drive, we remember the fumble, and we experienced that stadium when it was rocking. So I would just like to get back to those days and let the young fans see what it's all about. Browns is about passing it on from one generation to another, and it's time to do that. Hopefully the Browns can get it right here soon.
That's right. And Craig?
Amen, Tom. Once before we die.
Yes, absolutely. Craig, I'm pretty sure you were one of the first accounts on X that I followed and that you followed me.
I think so.
I think we've been following each other that long, which I don't even know how long that's been.
I don't know.
Long time.
Over 10 years for sure.
Probably 10 years. Yeah. So so we've talked a lot of Browns, and you've been on the podcast several times.
Been on a couple times,
how many? At least a couple. Yeah. So
always seems to be preseason. You put me on to start talking what's going to happen, and I'm glad you don't hold me to it because they never win. But I'm always optimistic, as we always are. So,
well, I'm including Jeff in this. Really, it's me. I have this bad habit of thinking, man, I haven't had so-and-so on the podcast for a long time. And then I look back, and invariably it's been almost a year to the week since I've had that person on. So you end up coming on at the same time every year.
Yeah.
I don't know. I got, I don't know about you, Jeff. I kind of was born with an internal clock to where I usually know about what time it is and stuff. So I guess that works
It's
month to year
hereditary.
and stuff too. It's hereditary. So we don't really need a watch or clocks in the house. You always just know what time it is. And I think it works with stuff like this too. So I don't know if you guys are buying that or not, but anyways. So
just appreciate you having me on again. Doesn't matter what the time is.
absolutely. It's great to have you here. So Jeff, we have a message for you in the comments.
Yeah, my grandson's tuning in already. He's here. He's become a regular listener, and I thank him.
Yeah, we appreciate you, Jay. Good to see you. And, let's see, and Jeremy can see my 57. I am wearing a Clay Matthews jersey. It's just it's hard to get the jersey in the photo, without, I want people to be able to see my Browns thing in the background without me being too small and all this stuff. So,
Right.
Yeah, you guys get it. All right, guys,
Of course,
let's.
Tom Brunswick is putting us all to shame with his Browns back wall there.
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
Man, that looks great, Tom.
it does.
Thanks a lot. We're about 4 hours from Cleveland, and ever since the kids have been little, our trips weren't to Disney World. They weren't to California. They were to Cleveland. And I was go to the Browns games, the Indians games, and the Cavs games. So the one thing that we always did when we went to Cleveland is we picked something up. And my wife would say, where are you going to put that? Where are you going to put that? Well, I figured it out. So I don't know about you guys, but everything in your basement is pretty well Browns in Cleveland, isn't it? I mean, I can't put it anywhere else, but the basement, you can put anything Browns in there. So a lot of trips to Cleveland, always take something back and put it up on the wall. If you don't like something where it's at, just move it around and make place for it. So we love going to Cleveland. The kids always still do.
Very nice.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, guys, let's move on to our Blitz beverages and find out what everybody's drinking tonight. So, gosh, we got 3 guests. What do we do? I guess we'll just we'll go around. Menachem, I know you're not drinking anything with alcohol in it tonight. Do you want to tell everybody what you're drinking tonight, or do you want to sit out?
Yeah, I'm just having soda tonight, keeping it easy, trying to keep up with you guys. Is got to be focused. So
Good enough. Good enough. All right, Craig, what are you drinking tonight?
Well, I'm drinking these Corona Sun Brews, so I got no alcohol in them, but they taste like beer, so it's close enough. And it's
All
the
right.
closest thing. It's closest thing to nice and sun we
Okay.
have up here in Canada, so I'll take it.
Wow. Okay. Well, Tom, it might be up to you and I tonight. Let's see. What are you drinking tonight?
Creeping into the picture there, you can see the top of it there.
Yeah.
It's a little Miller Lite, chasing it with a little water. And
Okay.
a gift I got from Father's Day from one of my sons. He must have been feeling pretty good about me this day. He said, "Dad, the man, the myth, and the legend." And it can play a little.
Oh, Rocky. There we go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Everybody needs one of those.
Where are the batteries out? Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome. All
That's
right,
great.
Jeff. How about you? What do you have?
Well, I went into the BrewDog sampler pack tonight, Rob, and pulled out my favorite. This is the Clockwork Hoppy Tangerine, alcohol-free.
Yeah.
This is my go-to from BrewDog now. So I thought, in honor of tonight's show, that's what I would pull out.
Pull out the best. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I am guys, I pulled out something I've had sitting around. I'll be honest, I was worried this may not have been good anymore because it's been in my fridge for a couple of years. This is a Chimay White, and I've been saving it for a special occasion. And some people watching will know what it is if you guys don't. So it's one of the better beers out there, and unfortunately, it's slightly warm. But I always hear that good beers you can drink them at room temperature, and they're still supposed to be good. So
That's the German way.
yeah, this is a Belgian beer, but I'm enjoying it nonetheless. Nonetheless. I did bring another beer. I'm not sure if I'll open it or not. So I just want to show you guys this can. This is so Father's Day. My wife took me out to the grocery store, and this is kind of dangerous. When you're a kid and you go in a candy store and your parents say, "Okay, you can pick out one kind of candy." How long is it going to take you guys to pick that candy out? Okay, my wife says you can pick out one pack of beer. I looked at the beer for probably 20 minutes because I'm like, darn it, there's so many here I haven't tried yet. So it took me a while, but I settled on this. It's called Karate Chimp, and it's Prairie Artisan Ales Karate Chimp, and it is sour ale with apricot, mango, and tangerine. So,
Wow, that sounds great.
yeah, I don't know if I'll open that tonight or not, but I wanted to show the can off. So
You in the beer aisle is like my wife in the shoe closet.
yeah, I mean, and just the label looks cool, so I had to give it a shot. All right, guys, that's gonna take care of tonight's edition of Blitz Beverages.
I just want to say cheers to all of our guests tonight, and here's to 300 episodes of the Browns Blitz.
Yeah,
Cheers, guys.
Yes, congratulations to you guys. That's a lot of dedication, and it's a lot of work to get a podcast ready, a lot of communication. And sometimes we're not feeling Browns, when they're not winning so much, and you guys still know that Browns are always part of our life and winning or losing. And when they win, it's a lot easier to do the show, I'm sure.
Well, I was thinking, Tom, when you said before that it's a lot easier after a win. There's probably been about only 40 times of our 300 episodes that we're coming off a win. So You're absolutely right.
It's true.
It took a
Yeah.
little bit, some weeks to get into spirit.
It's amazing when they win how good everybody feels. Everybody's smiling in the city. You're hugging people.
Yeah.
You're hugging people you don't even know. It's special when the Browns win. It really is. I don't know if the
That's
other
right.
teams feel the same when they win all the time, but when the Cleveland Browns win and they put together a playoff drive, it is something that you always remember. That's for sure.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Jeff, when you say 40, that's even counting wins in the draft, wins with great trades. That's counting all the good shows we've had, probably.
I was
Some
I was
preseason
just
wins in
trying
there,
to add
bro.
up.
Preseason wins,
I
yeah.
was trying to add up how many wins we had in the last 6 seasons in my head, but
Yeah.
I couldn't come up with the right number. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
it's more
there are
than
a
that.
lot.
I mean,
Yeah.
there were some pretty bleak years early on in this podcast. I mean, when we were talking about, not winning many games at all, and
Right.
where was this franchise headed, and we had some really tough shows
We
back
suffered. We did. I think the thing that made it good was having guests on and kind of learning about guests. That's something that we always do, is have people talk about their background as a fan and just kind of learn a little bit about them. And
Yeah.
most of the time it's for a lot of people, it's the first time they've been on a podcast. So
then.
even if we're not that into it, it's fun because a lot of people are excited. And I mean, I always thought it was funny at first when people come on, they're like, man, I'm kind of nervous. I'm like, we're just regular people, there's not that many people are going to hear this or anything. So don't worry about it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
It's
sometimes
been
there's
really
just
cool
nothing to
talking
talk
to-
about. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead, Jeff. Sorry.
It's been really cool talking to people and hearing all those different stories, especially like Tom, people who didn't grow up Browns fans or chose the Browns as their team. People from
Yeah.
all over the country and around the world that we've spoken with that adopted this city, adopted this organization. All of you are from outside the Cleveland area. And I mean, I'm the only guy living in the Cleveland market tonight. But it just goes to show you the reach that this organization has, and how big the loyal fan following is. And we've really enjoyed interacting with all those different people over the many years of this podcast.
That's right. Something else about this podcast. Somebody when I think of players that we've talked about, Jeff, over the course of this podcast, there's a guy we've talked about almost every single show on this podcast.
Yeah. I think it's
and
required.
that would be one Nick Chubb. Okay. We've talked about him almost every single week. And it's kind of, and now he signed with another team. So we're going to move past that, but I can't, he put out his farewell letter. Very, very well written, thanking the fans, and just a lot of nice things to say. I think everybody probably had a chance to read that. So I just thought it'd be nice maybe to give all you guys a chance to kind of say what Nick Chubb has meant to you over the past, just during his career as a Brown. So, Menachem, let's let you go first on this.
All right, I appreciate that. Thank you. Listen, I mean, obviously was a big fan of Nick Chubb. Appreciated his quiet way that he just went to work. And when I think of him, I know a lot of people think of like different stiff arms that get jifified on Twitter. But the play that I will always remember is when he ran out against the Texans when they had the lead, and he secured the win, and that he could have gone for the touchdown, and he did what needed to be done, ran out of bounds. Browns ended up winning the game, and that, I mean, he was a consummate professional. Like, what else can you say?
Yeah, 100%. Craig, what would you like to add?
You know what? He was the first big star on our team since when we came back in '99. I have to say. Joe Thomas was big, but I think Nick Chubb was like Bernie level in the sense that he was like Menachem said, he's a leader. He's quiet, worked hard, battled back from injury. I don't know. He was just a real class act, and it's sad to see him go. I understand why he's gone, but it's going to be tough watching somebody else taking the ball in the backfield this season on the regular, and then watching those Texans games and seeing him wearing number 21 for that team. So, but do appreciate him a lot. Kind of excited about the new backfield, but we'll probably talk about that later. But yeah, going to miss Nick Chubb for sure. 24 made a big impact.
Yeah. Tom, what do you think?
Well, Menachem and Craig pretty well hit it on the head. What I was going to say, he's the ultimate professional. I'm all about humility. I love how humble he is. And I love how he carries his professionalism out there. I love how he's quiet, but he's also a leader in his own way, performs on the field. I understand we have 2 new running backs, and I'm really excited for both of them. Really am. I think they're going to be fresh legs. I think they're going to be good. But I'm going to say if you got $230 million for the man that's not going to quarterback for us, I think you could find $2.5 million for Nick just to put him on the roster and maybe guide those guys and maybe help you out in third down situations. But I think he's going to have a brand new opportunity in Houston, and the way that Nick Chubb works and keeps himself going, I look for him to have a pretty good year, for the Texans. But we all love Nick Chubb. Was it time for him to go? Well, that's the Browns' decision. You got to respect that. Have they made the best decisions in the past? Yeah, some, but a lot of them no. But whatever happens for Nick in the future, I hope it's for the best. And for goodness sake, thank you so much for what you've done. As Craig said, he's been the best player we've had since '99. That's for sure. And Joe Thomas was a good player, but he's an offensive lineman. It's about scoring touchdowns. That's the Browns. That's what Nick Chubb could do, was score touchdowns and get you those great yards. And Menachem talked about that stiff arm and how he laid people out. He would get you the tough yards and also get you the long yards. So a lot of injuries, but hope the best for Nick. And thank you, Nick Chubb, for everything you've done in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Jeff. Yeah, 100%. Jeff.
Yeah, I don't know. I've talked about Nick Chubb 276 times now. I don't know what more I can say. So maybe I'll just say that the way that this parting has happened, while I wish that the Browns, to your point, Tom, could have figured out a way to keep him around, I think it was handled pretty well. I think there's no hard feelings, and the door is still open for Nick to come back here at some point down the road in his career if things work out. And I think that shows a maturation process for our organization and for our fan base. I think the fact that our fan base is not, burning the town down because we lost one of our favorite players shows that we have other things that we can be excited about, and we can wish the best for one of our favorite players and move forward. So all good things, and thanks to Nick Chubb for everything he did for us and for providing us so much content on the Browns Blitz these many, many years.
That's true. Regardless of anything else that happened, we always had something to talk about with Nick.
Right.
Almost always.
Yeah.
And really all I have to say is what I've been saying for 5-6 years. I'll always be a Nick Chubb fan. He was my favorite player, just like he was almost everybody else's favorite player. There's absolutely nothing to not love about the guy. And I wish him well, and if there's a reunion down the road in Cleveland, I would love to see it. But, most of all, I want to see good things happen for Nick, because he's been nothing but good for the Browns and for the fans of Cleveland. So
Yep.
I'm going to miss talking about him. That's for sure.
The other thing I would add, guys, is the players in Cleveland for the Browns come and go, and some of them you forget right away, and some of them you remember for a long, long time. And Nick Chubb will be one that we remember all the time, forever and ever. However, when one of our new running backs run for that touchdown their first time, we'll be cheering for those guys too. The Cleveland Browns are not about one person or several persons. They're about the organization. They're about the Cleveland Browns as a team. That's why I usually never get a jersey that has someone's name on the back, because after a while they're gone, So I usually get just Cleveland stuff. So wish Nick the best, and the Cleveland Browns will move on without him. And I think Nick will always be remembered by all of us for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Greg, Chubb belongs in the list of all-time great Browns any era. We talked about that somewhat last week. We were talking Mount Rushmore, so we were talking top 4.
Mm-hmm.
Does he belong there or not? But if you're just making a list of all-time greats, I think, I think that includes Nick Chubb without a doubt. How deep are you going at running back? How many running backs are you listing? But I don't know if anybody's leaving Nick Chubb off the list of all-time Browns greats. Definitely.
Right.
No.
So Jeff sent me an article, guys, that I thought would be fun to talk about. Just gives us a few topics. This was by Matthew Schmidt from Sports Illustrated. 3 non-Shador reasons to be pumped about the Browns in 2025. And we'll talk a little bit about Shador, because you almost have to, because he's pretty much all over the news. But there's some other things we could talk about. So 3 reasons, and then so I'll give the 3 reasons, and then we'll kind of come back to them one at a time. So first reason, you guys just brought up, the running back, the young running back tandem of Quinshon Judkins and Dylan Sampson. That's reason number 1. Reason number 2, young wide receivers, Judy, Tillman, Thrash. And reason number 3, Isaiah McGuire's potential breakouts. So those are 3 non-Shador reasons to be pumped about the Browns in 25. So let's talk about the young running back tandem, and we can now talk about this tandem without the shadow being cast over it of, are the Browns going to sign Nick Chubb? How are the carries going to be split? Things like this. There's still the question of Jerome Ford, and who's going to get carries? Is Ford going to get carries? How many carries is Dylan Sampson going to get as a rookie? Things like that. But I guess the first thing is how excited are you guys about 2 young running backs, and how much impact do you think they're going to have as rookies this year? So who wants to go first this time?
Well, I'll go first, because I was super, super pumped when Judkins got drafted.
Yeah.
Regardless of all the Nick stuff, I thought, boy, what a guy to step into his shoes, or try to fill his shoes over the next 5-6 years. Very excited for him. Similar type back. Needs to work a little bit on his receiving, but I like the ground and pound. And then Sampson was a surprise pick, but I've done a little bit of reading on him, YouTube videos and so on, and I'm pretty excited about him too. I can see a Mac Biner kind of combo going on there. Sorry for the throwback for all the people listening that don't know what I'm talking about, but you can see that kind of, that ground and pound.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. I was going to say, just as an aside, guys, if you're Browns fans, we've talked a lot about running back numbers for this franchise and wide receiver numbers and the disparity. So if you want to know anything about the history of this franchise, take a look at the running back. Take a look at the leaderboards for the running backs, and learn about some of these guys, because that's really the history of the franchise. So
Right.
now we'll go back and Tom will get your thoughts on this young running back duo.
Well, Craig mentioned Mack and Biner, and boy, I sure remember those guys. I think it was '84 when they both run for 1,000, didn't they?
Yeah.
And they complemented each other. They were excellent, and I think these two guys could do that if coach could figure out a way to play them both at the same time. I guess maybe that's a thing of the past, but you got two different kind of running backs. You know, kind of like Mike Pruitt and Greg Pruitt way back in the day. You know, you got one guy that's elusive and one guy that gets a tough yards. So I think they could work them out that way. But, you know, our running back, the Browns running back situation went from a place where, you know, is Nick going to come back to all of a sudden we got a stable, two pretty good guys that can run the football. And I think they're fresh legs. I'm excited for both of them. I'm excited for either one of those guys to have very good seasons. You know, Ford's still back there. So I think it's a strength now, you know, I think they're going to surprise people. I'm excited for both of them. As you mentioned, Judkins from Ohio State, and he can get the tough yard. I watched the Buckeyes play a lot of times, and boy, he's a tough ball player. He's going to be okay. And that's important, especially when you're playing in Cleveland in December, you know, and you need the tough yards to run the football. So I think it's going to be pretty exciting to watch both the new guys play.
Yeah. What do you think, Menachem?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's throwing out running back duos. I'll throw out, you know, Eric Metcalf and Leroy Horde from the
Good
'94 team.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
But the truth is, as you said, the Browns' history is a who's who at the running back position. Go all the way back to Marion Motley. You have Leroy Kelly, wasn't mentioned yet today. All these guys are you know, the Pruitts were mentioned, Mack and Biner, like these. They're the next group, hopefully, of that you know, greatness, and I'm excited. I think Dylan Sampson as the SEC 2024 SEC Player of the Year. We got him as late as we did. I think that's exciting. And Quinton got to see him a lot with the Ohio State games. I mean, it's just this is an excitement. Like, this is, again, you know, let's hope that it'll, you know, we can get enough touches for everybody. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Jeff, do you have anything to add, or do?
I'll just expand on what Menachem said about these two guys being from major conferences, who are complementary backs, who I think can grow together over the next multiple years. So yeah, it's a reason to be excited this year, but I think it's a reason to be excited for our franchise long term.
Yeah. So what do you guys see as Jerome Ford's role in this room? Do you think he's going to get more carries early in the season than late? I mean, it seems like a dumb question to me, honestly, because it feels like naturally, you know, these rookies are gonna, you know, kind of, their carries will probably build over the course of the season. But is that how you see it playing out? What do you guys think?
Well, I think if the rookies put up some decent yards, and one thing we didn't mention was the zone scheme they're going back to with the running. So if you can get enough touches for both those guys, there's no reason why this can't work quite well. We saw how that scheme ran a couple years back. They were just tearing it up. So I think Ford's probably going to get moved if the young guys start you know, putting some numbers up. I think they'll probably trade him, use him for bait, try to pick up a third or a fourth or something for him. You know how AB does his late pick trade thing. I think they probably move them because they still have Strong, and they have that other young guy they just picked up from the USFL or wherever they just got this young guy. I don't know his name. Sorry. So I got another guy in the room too. So I think they're pretty deep at that spot. He might be somebody might be looking for a back with an injury pops up.
Just to add to the point there, Ford they restructured his deal, which makes it might make it easier to trade him away. So
Exactly.
that's a, you know, Just want to point that out. Well,
That's a good point. Yeah.
Great points, Craig and Menachem. Great points. I think they'll go slow with the two new running backs until one of them runs for a 97-yarder like Nick Chubb did at Oakland that day. All of a sudden, they'll say, "Okay, he's good. We're going to play."
He's ready. He's ready. Yeah,
He's
we don't
ready
need to
to
worry
go.
about this guy anymore.
Yeah, I think those running backs can fill in pretty quick. Much more than a quarterback can because there's so many more reads. Or running back, just hit that hole and let's go. Gallop, let's go. Get that tough yard.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that to me that I didn't like Ford so much in that he was always so slow on picking a hole to go to. Just look at the hole and let's go for it. He was kind of like slow to get upfield. Need some guys that go north and south, not east and west. Let's hit those holes and let's go. And I think both those running backs that we have will do that.
I don't think that's going to be a problem with Quinshon Judkins, Tom. The name that you were looking for, Craig, is Amani Marshall.
There we go. Yeah.
The college free agent that we picked up. I'll just repeat something I've said earlier on the show that I think the reason that Nick Chubb will make the roster and will probably stay on the team this year is because of special teams. His contribution on special teams, particularly in the kickoff return game, brings something that we really don't have otherwise on the team. So he'll probably be getting most of the carries early in the year, but especially the ability to return kicks is what's going to, keep him on the team.
Well, yeah, and we don't typically have great luck with our kick returners, so we want to be too deep there.
Right.
So, yeah.
our kick returners are like the drummers for Spinal Tap.
Yeah, it's the job that nobody really wants because you know what's coming. Yeah, you know what's coming.
That's a reference that not a lot of people are going to get, Menachem.
No, we're dating ourselves badly, but it's good, but in a good way.
Yeah.
I just noticed that my wife is making a rare appearance on the live stream tonight. So thanks for that, honey.
Yeah. Hey, Jan. Thanks for watching. So
Speaking of the kick returns, I'd like to see it get back into the game. That last year I didn't really like the way they did that. I always think the kick return. Look, Josh Cribbs made a living on it. Metcalf made a living on it. I'd like to see that get to be part of the game again. They're just always kicking it to the end of the end zone, and I know it's dangerous, but it's a fun dangerous if you're watching it, not participating in it. I mean, there's a lot of things can happen on that kickoff, and I don't know how they're doing it this year. They seem to switch it every year, but
they switched it. I'll be honest with you. We even went over the rule on the show, and I can't remember what it is. I think they changed where the kickoff. I think they changed where the kickoff. A touchback comes out to the 25 instead of the 30.
Comes out further now. Yeah.
Well, I was thinking didn't it come out to the 30 before?
No, I think it doesn't really matter. But you're right, Tom. That I wish they'd quit screwing with it.
You can't keep it straight. Yeah.
What the league is trying to do is force kickers to kick the ball so it can be returned, and it's actually worked the opposite. So it's a kind of a messed up play.
Yeah,
but
they just need to go back to the way things were, and set it up to where the kickers are kicking the ball off. The distance is such that it comes down around the goal line. Let the guys make their decision, and that's just how it is.
So if you're asking me what am I most excited about, this season, it's not kickoffs.
It's not kickoffs. No, it's not. No, I am excited about the young running back tandem though, and I think Jerome Ford will get some carries early on, but if he's not moved, but I would expect Sampson and Judkins to be doing the bulk of the running later in the season. That just makes sense. So let's move on to the young wide receivers and how excited we should be about this wide receiving core room that we have right now. Is anybody excited about this wide receiver room, guys? Anybody?
I'm excited. I'm excited if Tillman can stay healthy.
Yeah,
I'm excited. I like David Bell. I was one of the few people that did, and I also like Michael Woods. I like him too. I don't think he has had a chance to shine yet. So I don't know if he's going to be. He's not going to be a superstar, but I think they got some solid depth if they use the guys right. Very unpopular on X with that opinion. I got trashed many times on that, so I kind of backed off on it. But that's how I feel. I think Tillman can be a very, very good player if he can stay healthy.
I think Tillman has some support. I don't think you find much support for any of the rest of the guys. Some people have talked about Woods, but I think people are realistic about him. David Bell, I don't think there's, outside of you and I, Craig, I don't think there's 3 Browns fans that want him on the team.
Well, after that horrific injury last year, I don't know if he's going to make it. To be honest,
he has a tough
road back. Yeah.
I don't know what you guys think, but I mean, it's really Jerry Jeudy and a bunch of guys trying to prove themselves. And we can hope that there's enough there, but I think I'm trying to think. I think I was listening to a podcast, and and it came up that somebody was going to compare the Browns to other teams and that, and I didn't get through it. But anyways, I think the reality is that if you compare the Browns wide receiver room to anybody else, it's probably not going to fare too well.
No,
just by looking at what players have done, So yeah, there might be something there, but most of it's a prayer right now. Outside of Jerry Jeudy, we got 2 tight ends. We got Jerry Jeudy, and we're hoping that some of these other guys can contribute.
I think Fannin is a big wideout myself. He doesn't block well.
I agree 100%, Craig.
Yeah, I think they're going to use him a lot, like in the Kelsey kind of role and that type of thing. I think he's going to get a lot of grabs, and I think they're counting on that. I hope they're right. He looks really good, like in OTAs, he looked pretty good, but that's no pads, and that's no real defense. But so far, and they signed that young guy today and released that other tight end. If I saw Kalena or something, they got today.
The guy from the UFL.
Yeah, the UFL guy. That's where I was thinking before with the back. But yeah, so they're definitely
Sal
plugging Canella. Yeah. And no, we also in the receivers we forgot to mention that Luke Florio or whatever his name is, that guy from Akron.
Good for him. Yeah, good for him. But I don't think he makes the team.
No, probably not. Every year we have that one guy.
Yeah, we're always going to root for these guys, but I mean, these guys who are 5'8", 5'9", 170. I mean, they look great in practice, and they may lead the team in receptions in preseason, but they're not going to make the team.
No,
they're just
unless they play for
Belichick. He and Dylan Gabriel. He and Dylan Gabriel can go play Pee Wee football on one of the backfields.
Oh boy, yeah.
Well, it's definitely not Langhorne, Slaughter, and Brian Brennan back there, going back to the 80s again. And I think as excited I am about the backfield with the 2 guys we signed, I am not excited about our receivers. And to me, the NFL is about receivers. Quarterbacks getting the ball to receivers. I mean, that's what you want. You want a stable full of those guys. You want 5, 6 guys that can flat out catch it. Big guys that can go down the field and catch it over the middle in the end zone. That's what the Cleveland Browns need for us fans to get excited about them. I know we got some tight ends, and they're pretty good. The guy from BG could be pretty good.
Yeah,
and I think he could be pretty good. But you got to stretch the field. You make sure you can get the ball deep. You got to respect that. Hey, the Cleveland Browns, they'll throw it deep on you. There's some guys that can get down the field, and that will open the tight ends. And I don't see that right now. AB, will he make a trade? We'll see. But at this point, I don't see that part of it. And and the NFL needs NFL is all about receivers. I think it is about guys that can catch the ball. And
Yep.
we don't have enough good receivers. But maybe they'll pick someone up. Amari Cooper looked pretty good right now, actually. I don't know who he's with, but and I'm not sure what happened.
Still floating around
available.
out there.
He's available.
I don't know what happened there, but
he seemed to leave on not such good terms.
Yeah, that's
but,
true.
Right.
I don't know. He seemed to he didn't really do much in Buffalo, so I don't know. You can't imagine a guy like that could just lose it all in one season. But I guess guys, I guess it happens. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he was so good.
It's a name I threw out there, but a receiver like that, some more proven guys. We want these other guys. Their hopes, their prayers. We need some proven guys that can catch the football. And I don't know what this season's going to look like, but maybe they're going to add some more guys like that. But the fan base would certainly get excited. We get some decent receivers out there. I mean, you need some good ones.
Well, guys, with having the two running backs, two tight ends, and Jerry Jeudy, how deep do you think you need to be at wide receiver? Beyond the guys like Thrash and Tillman who are unproven. Do you want to add one more wide receiver, two more wide receivers? What do you think this team really needs to be respectable at that position?
You need at least one more proven guy, like Tom said. Probably more than likely two would be nice, but you definitely need one. But they haven't had much luck getting guys. Go back to Odell, Dwayne Bowe. We can go on and on with guys that they brought in that were supposedly good veteran guys, and they were just a waste of time and money. We need at least one more, I think. Yeah, take the pressure off Jeudy. Yeah.
The last two have done good. I mean, Amari Cooper and Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah.
Those two guys. But yeah, you go back further and not so good.
No.
Right.
No.
So I don't know. I mean, if they just go with what they have, maybe the 2026 draft, we see a draft similar to what the Packers just had, where the Browns draft like 4 wide receivers. What do you think, John?
No, I don't think so.
Highly unlikely.
Yeah, no. I'm with you two guys that have already said, let's go find one more guy. I've said that the last few weeks. I'm still hopeful that Andrew Berry's going to find one more guy through trade or somehow to bring in another established guy. Green Bay's loaded, like you said, Rod. If we could find a way to start the season with Romeo Doubs, I'd be thrilled. I wanted him in the draft. I wanted Traylon Burks a couple of years ago. I think if Harold Fannin can be that kind of guy for us, we have plenty of guys to throw the ball to. We still need someone to actually throw the ball. So, maybe we're putting the cart before the horse a little bit. But if we add another proven guy before the start of the season, I think we'll be pretty good for 2025, especially if we are going to run the ball as much as we think we're going to. I just want to say, though, that, if these are the first two things that excites this author about 2025, man, I mean, our receiving corps probably didn't even make the top 10 for me.
It was not on my list. It was not. So let's move on to the last one. And Menachem, I'm going to save you from weighing in much on the wide receivers unless you really have something you want to talk about.
Nothing.
You can go first on the next one, okay?
Thank you.
And that's Isaiah McGuire's potential breakout season. So the Browns did not draft Abdul Carter, so we don't have to worry about Isaiah McGuire sharing time or anything with Abdul Carter. So we have this guy who played pretty darn well. The Browns think highly of. He played well, once once he was a starter, last season. and it graded very highly. Put up a few numbers. So I think the Browns feel pretty good about this, and that was evident, I think, with what they did in the draft, partially. So, Menachem, how do you feel about Isaiah McGuire? I mean, he's there to benefit from from the additions to the defensive line, just like Miles is, right?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think Isaiah McGuire is a good young player. I also would add to that, I think Alex Wright, before his injury last year, was playing very well, and I would love to
Yes.
see what he could do to take the next step. And they brought in some other guys. We still have Obo Okoronkwo, who just love saying his name, so I'm going to throw him out there. And yeah, I mean people talk how Andrew Berry hasn't gotten the other running mate for Myles Garrett. The truth is, I mean, we've tried. We put guys on the other. We've gotten guys with proven talent on the other side, and just didn't work out for whatever reason. I say let's give these young guys the opportunity. Let's let them grow, and let's see what they could do. I'm excited, and I think with Mason Graham and Mike Hall and Junior in the middle at defensive tackle. I think it's going to open some things up for these other guys. I will, if I could just add one more thing. They also in free agency got the guy from Tampa, Tryon Shayinka,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
Yeah.
And one of the big things that when he came in, they were asking him about like how do you think you fit Jim Schwartz defense? He's like, Jim Schwartz's defense is about attacking the quarterback, and there's not something that he was doing in Tampa. So like his numbers don't look that great, but he put into the right situation with it being in a Jim Schwartz defense. I'm cautiously optimistic, at the very least, if not totally optimistic, all the way up. So yeah.
So Craig, how are you feeling about? I guess not just Isaiah McGuire, but some of the other guys that Menachem threw out, and this defensive line.
Yeah, Alex Wright was the guy I was going to right away. So Menachem beat me to that one because I thought he was coming on before he got hurt as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
and that gave McGuire an opportunity to play. And yeah, I think our D line is pretty. It's unproven at certain positions, but I think it's going to be pretty strong going forward. I'm not worried about that portion of it at all. I wasn't worried about linebacker very much so after JOK, but we're not talking linebackers. But I'm on the edge. Yeah, I'm not worried at all. I think those young guys are going to step up, and they're going to have somebody has to spell Miles, or God forbid an injury or something along the way for one of them. So no, we got good depth there. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, definitely. Tom, how you feel about the defensive line?
Well, the one thing that we always talk about is good young players and unproven. Well, that's what they are, a lot of the guys that we have now, and what would prove them if they could win some of those early games this year. And that would really, really do a lot for them and for the fans and the organization, because nothing's expected for the Cleveland Browns. Nothing. I mean, really, everybody's saying we're going to win 3-4 games. That schedule at the beginning is a killer, but if they can win some of those early ones, all of a sudden unproven kind of turns into proven. They can play a little bit. So I think early season is going to be a key.
Yeah.
True.
In the McGuire that you guys were talking about, Isaiah McGuire, he had a good second half of the season. I like him. He's a good ball player. Yeah.
And any thoughts to add, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, it's a small sample size for Isaiah McGuire, but he's trending in the right direction. So yeah, for sure. But here again, I mean, if I'm thinking about the top three things that excite me about 2025, the number 4 or 5 defensive end isn't it for me. I'd kind of like all of us to throw out a couple of things that really do excite you about 2025, and I'll give you a couple to kind of get the ball rolling. For me, the fact that we have pretty close to half of the projected first 53 on the roster that are going to be on prove-it deals of some sort. Last year of their rookie contract, 1-year deal with the team or whatever. So you'd think that, if you've got that many guys who are on prove-it contracts, that they'd be super motivated to prove that they belong in this league, right? That they'd go out and you'd see some career years from a lot of guys, right? So for me, having that many guys on prove-it deals, that excites me. I want to see how many of these guys can leverage that into great seasons. And then the second one is just going back to the defense. There's a huge focus this year on the defense creating turnovers. We all know we finished last in the league in turnover ratio, right? So our offense is going to turn the ball over. Hopefully it's not going to turn the ball over as much. Rookie running backs are going to fumble. 5 quarterbacks are going to throw interceptions. But if our defense can create some turnovers this year, and I'm thinking specifically of interceptions, if we have a focus on taking the ball away in the air, and we can at least whittle that number down, that the offense is going to turn it over, it's going to keep us in some games, right? So I'm excited to see what our defense can do in terms of creating turnovers this year. Those are my top 2 things for 2025. What are yours?
You guys have anything? Just jump right on in.
Tom looks like he's itching to go.
Well,
Go ahead, Tom.
we haven't talked about it yet, but I'm really excited to see how that quarterback situation turns out. When Deshaun was there, I was so excited for him to come. I know he had his background and whatever, but I thought he could come in and play. Well, I watched him and I said, this guy can't play. He's not the Deshaun Watson that I know, and he's not ever going to be. But so now you got 4 guys. I'm excited for each one of them that they can. What Flacco did a couple of years ago, that was exciting. That was great. That was really fun. At the end of the season, that was fun. Shador, I don't know what he's going to do, and the guy from Oregon. He's not very big, but I watched him against the Buckeyes. He could sling it around the yard a little bit. He was pretty good. And, I don't know what's going to happen with Kenny Pickett, but, you got 4 guys that I'm curious to see what's going to happen there. I know this. TV networks will be there a lot to see what's going on in Cleveland, especially with Shador. But I'm excited about that. And there again, the other thing I'm excited about are the running backs. I think they're going to be all right. They're going to be okay. So that's the 2 things I would say I'm really curious to see how it shakes out this year.
Yeah. Menachem or Craig, you guys have anything you want to throw in?
I got one that's more under the radar. Probably Jeff will say this goes with like the wide receiver room and Isaiah McGuire, but I'm kind of excited. I'll be honest of the new offensive line coach Mike Bloomgren, who worked with Bill Callahan when he was with the Jets. I'm looking forward to seeing if we can go back to the Bill Callahan type offensive line that we had before last season. And, health is obviously a big issue at any position. The offensive line would be one of them. But I want to see, I hope that this Mike Bloomgren is like, Bill Callahan Jr.,
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's probably much lower on the list than a lot of other things that people are going to talk about. But the offensive line,
I like that one, Menachem.
We got to get back to what it used to be. I just want it back.
Yeah, no, I like that one a lot. I mean, I think that's what's going to make us go on offense, for sure. If we can get back to getting something out of those vets that really had off years last year.
Yeah.
Well, to tie right in with that, with exactly what Menachem said, my name is DeJuan Jones. I'm making the move over to left tackle that he doesn't really want to play, but he's going to play. He's lost the weight. He's healthy now. After Wills, it can't be bad. So I'm actually really excited to see what he can do. And that new linebacker we drafted, that's my other kind of excited to see him play. I've heard a lot of comparisons, which mean nothing at this point, but he seems very, very intelligent, very smart. moved up real quick at UCLA. So I think, you know what, we might have found a diamond in the rough there.
Mm-hmm.
Great points, Craig. Great points. And I saw the long hair and being from USC, and I thought right away, Clay Matthews back there.
57.
Yeah, 57.
That's right.
So
7. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've gone with the Joe Schobert comparison, but if he's some combination of Clay Matthews and Joe Schobert, we're gonna love the kid.
We'll take
Yeah,
that.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, I've got several things I'm excited about. I think assuming the Browns can figure out a free safety, somebody play free safety this year, out of the conglomeration of guys they have in camp, going to have in camp this year. I think the defense is really poised to bounce back this year, especially with the additions and the way this defensive line, I think, is poised to really dominate offensive lines and games. That, and I mean, I'm excited about the quarterback position. Okay. And this goes over not just this season, but going into the draft next year. And I was going to ask this as a question, but I'm just going to just state this as something that I'm excited about. I feel that the Browns are in the best position they've been in to figure out the quarterback position since they had the first pick in 2018 in that draft. Okay. Because they have the 4 quarterbacks on the team, two guys who could possibly be the answer, more than likely, 2 guys who probably won't be. But we hope that, there's potential that one of the 2 young guys could be the answer. And if they aren't, the Browns are set with 2 first-round picks next year who could also provide the Browns with an answer. So I'm excited about potentially answering that damn question that's been one of the main problems since 1999, since coming back. It has been QB. QB
Right.
and head coach. That's it.
Yeah.
We've had other guys. If we could have had a quarterback certain years, the Browns would have been a lot better. And there are other things, but those are probably the 2 things I'm most excited about right now. So, guys, is it, and has it been hard to be a fan of this organization? Right now. Let's just say right now. Menachem?
To some extent, yes, and to some extent, I would say no. I mean, I get my my friends all know. I live in New York. All my friends know I'm a Cleveland fan. I get the text messages when they lose, and the hoes, all these, and it is what it is. But the truth is, I also, as I've said before, and I'm wearing the shirt. I'm part of a Browns backers club, and they've embraced me as one of their own, and we have a great time. And so there's, like everything in life, there's positives, there are negatives. You got to focus on the positives, and that's all you got to do.
Yeah. Craig?
Well, you might remember my story from back. Like I'm up here all by myself. So, and up here in Central Canada, I think I've seen on extras maybe 1 or 2 other guys but I don't know if they're like diehard crazies like me from way back in the late 70s, early 80s. So it's been a long run. People know me for being the Browns fan, and then like Menachem, I take a lot of texts, get a lot of grief. But you know what? It has been hard at times, but I wouldn't cheer for another team or wear another colors. I'd rather get frostbite on my ears than put on a Steelers too. So you know what? That's it. I'm a Browns fan, as you know, Rod. I always go Browns, and it hasn't been easy, but they're our team, and we just take it for what it is, and that's what makes us stronger.
That's right. And spoken like a true Canadian, Craig. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
So,
I had to throw that in there.
Yeah.
yeah.
So Tom.
I'll add, sure, it's been tough since '99, and sometimes we like the Browns for who they were and not who they are now. But still, we still love the Browns because when they win on that Sunday, it's a special day. It's a very special day. And the Browns to me, guys, are about family. It's about passing on from one generation to another. It's about my dad passing it on to me. It's about me passing it to my son. I want my sons to be Browns fans, and he picked up an RV that was Browns, and I knew that we were taken to a few games, and he had that for 3 or 4 years. So I knew he was a Browns fan, and his son, I think the first word that he ever said was Browns before Dad. And his little daughter, anytime she sees an orange helmet, she's just going to be 2 next week. She says Browns, So it's about family. It's about always loving the Browns, and every year we love them. It's like an unconditional love. Sometimes we wonder why we love them, but when we win that big game on a Sunday, and we remember back in the 80s, and we just want it to be back to like that again, so the young kids can see it again, the young fans can see it. So yeah, it's been tough, but when we signed up for this, we knew what we signed up for, right, guys? We signed up for being a Browns fan forever.
Yeah,
it's been a little tougher than we thought. Like you talked about when we first started the podcast. Nobody knew that. When the Browns came back in '99, we were going to go, 25, 26 seasons without,
right,
having, seeing greatness.
Like I told you, we'd go up in the '80s. Sometimes we didn't really know who they were playing. We're 4 hours away. We'd like win every Sunday at that old stadium, and it was great. The biggest question we had was who's driving home.
Wait a minute, I thought you were driving.
Well, we stayed. When it was my turn to drive, we stayed overnight, and that's what we did. And we could never decide which night do we want, Saturday night or Sunday night, because Saturday you have a good time. You're a little sluggish on Sunday. You go on Sunday morning, then it's so early, then you stay Sunday night. So we just decided we'll just stay both nights. That was the best.
Yeah.
But always good time in Cleveland, and we always help the economy up there, spend a lot of money, and hopefully, hey, you know what? We just want to be entertained. I just want to be entertained. Right. Even if you lose a tough game, 27-24, 30-27, you don't want to lose, but you spend good money up there. You want to be entertained. A couple of those games we went the last several years, they weren't entertaining. They were not.
That's true.
Yeah.
So Jeff, I'm going to talk about this first because I think it's different. I live in the Dayton area. There's a lot of Bengals and Steelers fans around here. There's some Browns fans, but when it's really tough, when the Browns lose 3-4 games in a row, I can watch the game, and it's when it's over, I can turn it off. I can get mad for a little bit, and then I can forget about it. You're the only one of the 5 of us who lives in Cleveland. It doesn't go away up there. It's on the news. It's everybody you run into. It's everything. So for me, it's a challenge. It's a challenge seeing the losses. It's a challenge not being able to talk positively sometimes about the team. But I think the rest of us can get away from it when we want to. So how hard is it being a Browns fan in Cleveland?
Well, I'll tell you, it's not nearly as hard now as it was back in the 1980s. When we were having great seasons year in and year out, and the fan base was really in love with individual players. I mean, we talk about being in love with Nick Chubb. But you know what? We were in love with the organization back in the 1980s. It was all those players, and you lived and died with that team. If the Browns lost on Sunday, half the town called off work on Monday. That's how bad it was. Mm-hmm. I think one of the downsides to our organization being pretty irrelevant since the mid 90s is a lot of that passion has dwindled. I'm not going to say it's not there anymore, but it's just not out in front like it used to be. So yeah, I'd love to say that living here in Cleveland and, dealing with the Browns on a weekly basis is all that, but it's not. It's not like it used to be. So I think that's a reason that we need to get back to winning consistently. As soon as we find that quarterback, and as soon as we start putting W's on the board regularly and getting into the playoffs and being relevant again, I think you'll see that passion come back in Cleveland. I think we've got the right people in place to get us there. We just need a little bit of luck now to just put the last few pieces in place. And it will be such a change for the city of Cleveland, because bottom line, we've had winning baseball teams, we've had winning basketball teams, but Cleveland is first and foremost a football town. And not having the Browns as our live and die thing has been sorely missed here for the last 30 years.
Yeah. Very well said. Yeah, very well said. I think younger Browns fans think, and rightly so. I mean, I don't want to disparage anybody's fandom. They think they're great fans. And there are a lot of people who go to every Browns game. They're great fans, but they don't know what it was like back then, Jeff. So,
right. That's
and
true.
they would find out if this team became a winner, like you're talking. So, let's hope that happens very soon. So guys, I've got one more topic, and then we'll then we're going to close things out tonight, and that, of course, is Shedeur Sanders and his speeding tickets. We got to talk about something, Shedeur Sanders. When you pull up Browns news, you know what you see?
100% Shedeur.
It's all Shedeur Sanders. So we got to at least talk about the kid, okay? I approached it this way. So I put out a poll on Twitter. I said, "Have you ever driven a car 100 miles per hour on the street or highway?" And I said yes, no, or not 100, but close. And here are the results with 210 votes, which I think is enough to be conclusive. Yes, 67%. So 2/3 of people have driven a car 100 miles per hour on the road or the highway. Okay. Another 9% say not 100, but pretty close. And only 24% said no, they haven't driven 100 miles per hour. So almost just over 75% have driven 100 miles per hour or pretty close. So he's a kid, okay? He did something stupid. Nobody got hurt. Let's hope he learns from it. Shedeur, don't drive 100 miles per hour on the road. Hope you had fun doing it once. You don't need to do it again. Okay, that's it. Other than that, I'm happy that he looks good in camp. I hope the other guys look good in camp. But let's see what they do in the preseason, and let's see who wins the starting job week 1. That's all I have to say on it. Now let's go around. Tom, what are your thoughts on Shedeur Sanders and all this stuff, and anything else you want to say about him?
I've never had a vehicle to go 100 mile an hour, so I've driven 100 mile an hour. All my car, I'm driving a 2001 Grand Cherokee. I just take it around town. I don't have any vehicles that go that fast, and I certainly wouldn't go that fast. But don't hold it against him, though. I know where he's at there in Strongsville, and that's a speed trap through there. It's only 60 mile an hour, but to go 101, that's probably going to get you a ticket.
Can get you caught.
Alcohol involved and all the other stuff. But don't hold it against him at all. I just hope he doesn't hurt himself. I know Miles was in an accident, speeding, years ago. And, I'm not sure what he's in a hurry about, but, certainly don't hold it against him. We've had guys in the organization do worse stuff than that, but we want him to take care of himself. But most importantly, look out for other people. And when you go that fast, there's too many cars on the road. if you hurt yourself, that's one thing, but you take out a family or two, that's going to be with you your whole life. It's going to change everything forever. Football will not be important ever again in his life.
Exactly.
So hopefully you learn from it. And as far as him dropping to the 5th round, I'm not sure why. I don't know. But wouldn't it be cool if at one time we fell into something? Like, it's good. What if this guy's good? I mean,
Right.
what if we fall into something one time? That'd be great. So I think he's done a lot of the good things. He's been going to the schools. He's saying all the right things. And hopefully, he has a great career in Cleveland. And I think he'll needs to learn from it and have some success early in the season. And he'll be a key to the Browns. I think they want him to do well, and I think he can. So I'm hoping the best for him.
Absolutely. Craig, what are your thoughts?
Well, we've all done silly or stupid things in our youth. So as Tom said, I'm not holding it against him for speed, and I'm glad he didn't hurt anybody, let alone himself. But he's looked okay in camp. It doesn't really have that much of a rocket arm, but again, it's OTAs, so how much does it really? But he doesn't zip it like even like Gabriel does or Flacco. But he has done some good stuff too. He's been, like Tom said, he's been in the community. He's been going to the schools, saying the right things in his press conferences. Kind of coming early, going home late, type of thing. So you know what? Hey, like you said, we have 4 guys now, and possibility next year. Hopefully not. We have to waste it on quarterback, but if we do, we're in a good spot. So. I wish him the best. I just want one of those 4 guys to start chalking up W's for us. And I don't really want the controversy every week with him sitting on the bench but we're going to be hearing about it all season if he's one of the final 3 guys. And I don't know if I really want that drama. We've had too much of that, but it's probably going to be coming.
Yeah. Menachem, what do you think of Shedeur Sanders?
I just reiterating what was said already in terms of the driving aspect. Just thankful that no one was hurt, and that he did something not so smart. Look, we've all done something in our lives that was that way. So the good news is no one got hurt, and I think that has to be like the big picture thought for the moment, because everyone, again, we talked about Miles has been speeding, plenty of. Excuse me, I apologize. Plenty of other athletes, plenty of other non-athletes have been speeding. Let's just be safe out there. It's a dangerous world. We don't need to add to it. In terms of him as a player, I do like what he's done. I do like the fact that from all the reports, there was an interview being done with one of the other players at the rookie mini camps when it was done, and Shedeur was out there throwing more, trying to get better. I also like.
Yeah.
I'm very, very happy with the connection that Shedeur's offensive coordinator at Colorado was Pat Shermer, who has a very close relationship with Kevin Stefanski, who they had a very close relationship from their time in Minnesota together, and I feel like that's going to help the Browns. I feel like that's going to help Shedeur. I think it's going to help both together, and it's going to hopefully with what we have, we'll find someone to be the quarterback, and we can spend those 2 draft picks on wide receivers and whatever else we might need going forward. That's the hope. That's the big picture as I see it. So
Yeah.
So Jeff, if Shedeur's the guy, do you see the Browns drafting 2 wide receivers in the 1st round next year?
No.
I was just kidding about that. So no, I want to get
probably
your
not
thoughts
even one, but
yeah, probably not even one. We know what they
so just real quick on the Shedeur thing. You guys probably don't know this, but it came out today that less than 2 weeks ago, Shedeur was pulled over in Medina after being clocked at 91. So this is twice in a 2-week period that he was driving at a high rate of speed on a pretty congested freeway. I mean, I don't know how many cars are on 71 in Strongsville at 12:30 in the morning, but I can tell you it's one of the busier freeways around town. My office is over that way, and it can be really crowded. So I guess part of the problem with a rookie quarterback and these young guys is risk assessment, right? When is it smart to take the deep ball, and when is it smart to throw it to the blind in the third row, right? That comes with maturity. And Shadur's been saying all the right things in camp. He's been doing the right things, but the youth will always bubble back to the surface. So, personally, I've been triple digits in many different vehicles on several occasions. What you learn with maturity, and it wasn't always a good move on my part, but what you learn with maturity is that there's a time and a place for things like that, which I hope he learns over the course of time. I hope the organization can stress that in their conversations with him in the coming days to make better decisions, young man.
Yeah, definitely. And we all heard that in many different vehicles, many times over. So
for sure.
Yeah.
So some of them got there really quickly, and some of them took longer.
Yeah. Well, I know there are at least a few of us that have done that in this group. So anyways, all right, guys. I think we've covered it, guys. I so appreciate you all joining this podcast and helping us celebrate this 300th episode. It's been a lot of fun getting here, and doing this episode tonight just adds to, just the fun we've had with this, and just, how much this podcast means to me, and I think to Jeff too. So, let's get some closing thoughts from you guys before we get on out of here. So, Menachem, we'll let you go first.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure being on the podcast. This was a lot of fun tonight. I enjoyed listening to everyone's thoughts. 300 episodes, Rod. That's an amazing milestone. You should only continue. You should be able to do many, many more episodes in good health and happiness, and hopefully with a lot more Browns wins.
Amen.
I appreciate that, and I'm very hopeful for the Browns wins. Thank you, Menachem.
My pleasure.
Craig, your thoughts?
Well, I just want to once again say congratulations to you and to Jeff as well for his, 24 or 26 less. But you know what? You guys do a great job, and Rod, you're such a fixture in Browns X that you're really appreciated, and you should know that. And we're looking for some Browns W's, but you know what? It's the community of Browns fans like you guys, us five tonight, but also everybody else out there listening and on X. That's the family that Tom was also talking about. So, you know what? I appreciate it being this far away from everybody. It feels like a community, and I'm proud to be part of it.
That's right. We're sure glad to have you.
Thank you,
Craig. Tom, your thoughts tonight?
Yeah, I agree with Craig and Menachem, and I want to also congratulate both of you, Jeff and Rod, on 300 episodes. That's quite a commitment, and it's a great show. I watch a lot of them, and I also have been honored to be on 3 of them now, and it's always a good time. And I feel honored to be on here tonight. And I will say, back in the 80s, it was hard to get anything on the Browns. I mean, I went to the newsstand, and I had to pay like $3 for a Cleveland Plain Dealer on Monday, and I was just looking for every article I could find, anything on the Browns, anything. Yeah. And now it's so accessible. I mean, I don't know that if any of those guys in the 80s ever speeding or whatever. I don't know. It just now every time they do something, we all know everything. We know everything they do. But with that being said, Rod Bloom, with you being on Twitter makes it all worth it because you are very positive. And anytime you look at Twitter, it's a lot of negative stuff on there. And a lot of those guys are on there are negative, probably for a good reason. But sometimes it's just good to read something from you and other fans like you that are positive about the Browns and positive about life. And I thank you for that.
Yeah, here. I agree.
Thank you, Tom, and thank you guys. And Tom, I think that's why I said the words about you earlier. Is you're a very positive guy too. I think we have that in common, and not that Craig and Menachem, you guys are too, and Jeff.
Not me.
But I appreciate the kind word, guys. So Jeff, closing words tonight.
Well, yeah, before I do my closing thoughts, I just wanted to tell you, Tom, that during the podcast, I got a text from Jeremy Bonham. Maybe we're all a little bit in our feels tonight, but Jeremy wants to know what he has to do for you to have a catch with him sometime. So you guys can take that offline. So when Rod and I were talking about how we wanted to celebrate episode 300, we just kind of went back and forth about what would be appropriate to talk about and who we wanted to have on and so forth. And I feel very fortunate that some of the first people that we asked agreed to jump on with us. And I think that just is such a testament to the people who have supported us and followed us this whole time, that you guys are always available. Even when there's a power outage and we need to have you on a day later, people show up for us. So thank you. Thanks to everybody that listens to this podcast, everybody who's participated over the many years. And thanks especially to my brother for dragging me into this thing 274 episodes ago. And we've said it many times. We probably would have stopped doing this a long time ago if it weren't for the fact that it keeps us together as brothers. So
That's right. That's right.
That's what we're here to celebrate tonight is the togetherness of this Browns community. And, if we can sprinkle a few wins on top of that at some point, hey, all the better.
Yeah, I really can't say it any better than what Jeff just said. I mean, it's really been all about that and talking to fans and the whole thing's been built around being able to talk to my brother every week. I would have stopped doing this a long time ago if Jeff wouldn't have started doing this podcast, and he knows that. So, but the fact that we've been able to have so many fans on and talk Browns and that has just made it so much fun. And, we just look forward to doing it, just keeping it going and hopefully seeing a bunch of wins coming up here soon. So I appreciate you guys for coming on. Yeah. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much for having us, guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
This has been the Browns Blitz. We thank you for listening, and we will catch you next time.